Hi, my name is Ophelia. I was born into one of the most respected and well-off families in our small town. Ever since I was a child, I was surrounded by luxury, discipline, and strict rules. My dad's name was Nicholas Prescott. Everyone in town said his name in whispers. He was a prison warden. Everyone feared him, respected him, and tried not to anger him.
Hello. Sorry, there are no empty tables right now.
Sorry, Mr. Prescott. He's new. We will find a place for you right away. You moron! That's the king of the dungeon! Don't make him angry! The king of the dungeon. That's what they called my father, which made me a princess. A princess who lived in a prison without bars. My mom hasn't worked a day in her life. She could spend hours talking about looks, status, and marrying well.
Remember, Ophelia, a woman should be an ornament. Your task is to look good enough to find a great husband, like I did.
I listened and nodded because that was what I was supposed to do. Sometimes my father brought me to his work to show off how important he was. We walked through long corridors. I held my dad's hand and saw the guards straightening up when we got close. The prisoners froze and lowered their eyes.
Remember, Ophelia, I'm cleaning up this town. Everyone respects me.
Yes, Daddy. I loved knowing that my dad was the one in charge. I was proud of him. But one day, that pride cracked. Our distant relatives, Aunt Margaret and her husband, came for a visit. My father decided to impress them.
Why don't I show you around our prison?
The prisoners were taken to a hall and forced to perform. They tried so hard, as if they'd been promised freedom. My relatives laughed and clapped. Dad was smiling proudly.
See? I am the law, God and king here.
One of the prisoners suddenly stopped playing. He looked at Dad with cold and calm eyes.
You're not the king here, and I am not your court jester.
An uneasy silence fell over the room. Everyone knew that something bad was about to happen. Dad smiled slowly. It was more like a snarl. And then he nodded to the guards. They instantly pinned down that prisoner and dragged him away. Dad, is that man going to be okay?
He's a criminal, Ophelia. People like him need to be isolated.
I nodded again because I was afraid of Dad, because it was easier that way. But doubt was already forming inside me. Later, I found out that the prisoner was put in solitary confinement for a month. After his punishment came to an end, I asked Dad what happened to that man next.
He's learned his lesson, and he's not breaking the prison rules anymore.
That's when I first thought that fear and respect were not the same thing. Years went by. I turned 16. Our house was still immaculate. From the outside, it might seem like I had everything one could dream of, but in reality, I felt like the walls were closing in on me. Dad was in total control of my life. He knew all my passwords. He would take my phone without a warning, look at my chat history and Google searches, and then give it back without a word. Whenever I had even a tiny secret, my father would find out about it almost instantly. One evening, I saw a raccoon. It was rummaging through the trash behind our house. The raccoon was hungry and very cute. I gave him an apple. 10 minutes later, my father already knew everything. He never shouted at me, but his cold calmness made me uneasy.
Ophelia, don't ever feed wild animals. Do you understand?
I didn't even ask him how he knew. The gardener or a maid must have told on me. Dad's spies were all around the house. Mom controlled my appearance and behavior. Dating was a taboo. I was forbidden to even look in the boys' direction. I went to a private school for girls. My personal driver, Mr. Hughes, took me there every morning. After classes, he drove me back. Sometimes, I caught myself thinking that real prisoners probably had more freedom than I did. But one day, everything changed. Mr. Hughes was driving me home after school. It was raining, and the asphalt was as shiny as a mirror. We drove through a deep puddle and splashed a pizza delivery guy. Stop! I should apologize.
Ophelia, your father...
I'm afraid of him too, but we won't be doing anything wrong.
I hope there won't be any consequences.
The driver sighed heavily, but stopped the car. I rolled down the window. Sorry, we didn't do it on purpose.
It's okay. I'm already used to it. This happens to pizza delivery guys a lot.
He smiled bitterly. My heart jumped in my chest, and I did something I hadn't planned on doing. How about we give you a ride? Hop in.
Ophelia, your father...
It's just a ride. No one will find out.
Thank you. Rich people are rarely kind. So, who's your father?
No one important, just a businessman. The guy's name was Charlie. On the way, he told me that he went to a regular school and worked as a delivery guy to help his mother. There wasn't anything fake about him. Charlie was an ordinary guy, and my soul was drawn to him.
You can drop me off here.
I'd love to treat you to a pizza, but I need to deliver this. But we could go to a pizza place on Saturday.
Oh, I'm afraid my parents won't let me go. They're strict.
How strict?
So strict that we won't even be able to call each other. I thought Charlie would shrug, get out the car, and forget about me. But instead, he beamed at me.
Then I'll stand at the same intersection tomorrow. How about it?
Feeling shy, I nodded. Charlie laughed, and Mr. Hughes shook his head bitterly.
Ophelia, if you keep talking to him, you'll get us both into trouble. Your father, you have no idea what he's capable of.
Mr. Hughes, please, I need a friend.
Okay, only for you, Ophelia.
Charlie and I met in secret after that. Mr. Hughes became our accomplice. Sometimes he'd give Charlie a ride so we could chat. Sometimes he passed notes between us. It was a breath of fresh air. Charlie laughed, joked, and told me about his day. He seemed to be hiding something that pained him. He was always happy to talk about his mom, but never about his dad. He immediately tried to change the subject. I didn't insist. I didn't tell him who my dad was either. It all came to an end one evening. I walked into the living room and realized my father had found out my secret before he even said anything.
Ophelia, did you think I wouldn't notice your driver making unnecessary stops, or my daughter smiling for no reason?
How could you? We did everything for you.
Hush, dear. Shouting is a sign of weakness. Ophelia, I installed a hidden dash cam in the car and saw you talking to that dirty boy, and Mr. Hughes covering for you.
It's not his fault. I was lonely.
You're not just Ophelia. You're Ophelia Prescott. Be grateful for everything you have and act accordingly.
Dad fired Mr. Hughes without paying him a salary. For a moment, I lost my fear and let my emotions take over. This isn't fair! I want to live like other teenagers. I want to go to a public school with Charlie.
You're too young to understand how rotten the world truly is. There is evil out there, real evil. Only I can protect you from it. That school, that's where the dredges of society go. Delinquents, future criminals. The city administration has been trying to close it for a long time. They're just waiting for an opportunity.
I cried all night. The next morning, my parents announced that we were going to a spa hotel.
Let's spend some time in silence and relax. You should get all that nonsense out of your head.
My parents' friends joined us. The mayor, his wife, and their son Nolan. He had a perfect hairstyle and a perfect smile. What he didn't have was a soul. Ophelia, Nolan, as soon as you were born, we decided that in the future you would get married and unite our powerful families.
Together we'll be unstoppable. This is just the beginning.
No one asked if I wanted it. I felt like a commodity. That's why I wasn't allowed to spend time with boys. Mom and Dad had already promised me to someone else. All evening, our parents tried to get us to talk to each other, but it was obvious that Nolan disliked me as much as I disliked him.
Empty doll.
Narcissistic snob. But our parents didn't give up. The next morning, they suggested we spend the day on the territory of the hotel together.
I've got an idea. Let's go to the city so we can both do our own thing and not get on each other's nerves. We'll just tell our parents we were together.
What if it was a trap? What if Nolan wanted to set me up? The offer was too tempting. I agreed. But first, I hid my phone under a stone by the fountain so that Dad couldn't track me. Nolan and I parted ways at the central square. At that moment, I felt like a bird leaving its cage for the first time. But my joy didn't last long. I was in a narrow alley when I heard someone whistle. I turned around and saw 3 dodgy boys.
Hey, princess, are you lost?
I took a step back and fell. Those delinquents burst out laughing and surrounded me. No, don't come any closer! Help! Luckily, Nolan hadn't gone far yet and heard my scream.
Get your dirty hands off her!
He moved so quickly and confidently, it really impressed me. I didn't know that the mayor's son was so courageous and manly. It only took him a minute to knock everyone out.
Are you okay?
Yeah, his hand was so warm. I turned red, and my heart started pounding.
There's a lot of evil in the world, but I can protect you.
Wait a minute, those are my dad's words. Did he write that line for you? Get up, quit acting. They didn't deny it, and guiltily admitted that they had been hired to scare me. That whole scene had been planned and rehearsed. Did our parents come up with this plan?
Well, they knew you wouldn't fall for me. I was promised a new car if I could make you fall for me.
That was the last straw for me. I'd been both afraid and patient for too long. It was time to stand up for myself. I burst into my parents' bedroom and told them I'd seen enough of their cheap tricks. Stop treating me like a thing. Here's what's going to happen. Nolan will stay away from me. You will hire Mr. Hughes back, and I will go to a public school and hang out with Charlie. Dad laughed like a Disney villain.
Does a little bird want freedom? Never.
Oh, then I won't say another word, and I won't eat a crumb. My parents didn't take my rebellion seriously, but 3 days went by and I still hadn't given up. Staying silent was easy, but hunger made me dizzy. Mom was the first to worry. Though worry is a generous word. Ophelia, you have dark circles under your eyes. You'll ruin your looks. But my father stayed indifferent. I didn't want to starve myself and eventually pretended to faint. Dad stayed cold and didn't even come up to me. But still, something must have struck a chord in him and he caved in.
You stubborn girl. Fine. Have it your way. I will hire the driver back and you can go to a public school. But you'll regret when you find yourself among wild and ill-mannered ragamuffins.
I couldn't stop smiling. Of course, the public school didn't look the way I imagined it would. The building looked like it was last renovated back in the dinosaur age, and my classmates didn't know what etiquette was. They seemed way too noisy to me. But then I realized that I could be myself there. Those kids were alive. They got mad, felt joy, made mistakes, and didn't try to be perfect. I made real friends. And the best thing was that I could now be with Charlie. We didn't have to hide anymore. We held hands without fear. I was happy, but Dad was getting angrier by the day. One day, I was leaving for school as usual when Dad came up to me with a smile that made my blood run cold.
I have made inquiries about that boy. Charlie's father was a criminal.
So what? All that matters is that Charlie is different. As I was leaving the house, I had no idea yet that it was just the beginning of Dad's revenge. When I arrived at school, it was clear that something wasn't right. All my classmates were glaring at me. When I approached my friends, no one said hello to me. What's going on?
You should go back to your school for rich kids.
What?
I received an anonymous note. I know who your father is.
Dad's people must have done it.
Of course. Who else could it be?
Do you judge me by my parents?
You don't get it. My dad had to steal so we'd have enough to eat. He went to jail. Your father made him and other prisoners entertain him. My dad refused to take part in that stupid play and was placed in solitary confinement. It was cold and damp there. He got sick, but your father wouldn't let a doctor see him. My dad died, Ophelia.
Charlie, I'm so sorry.
I will never forgive you, Prescotts.
Angry tears streamed down Charlie's face. The other students started chanting. They demanded I leave. I don't remember running home. I only remember my father's cold smirk. You're a monster!
No, I'm strong, and I never lose.
After that, it was like I vanished. I sat in my room and thought about everything that happened. It was foolish of me to think I could beat Dad. Nicholas Prescott was never beaten. He was obeyed. One day, the mayor came over to Dad. I was afraid they would talk about me and Nolan again, and eavesdropped on their conversation. But they were discussing an even more insidious plan. Oh no, I need to warn them. I came down to the garage and begged Mr. Hughes for help. Please drive me to school.
Ophelia, I just got my job back. I don't want any more trouble.
This is very important. You are my only ally. He looked at me for a long time, but in the end, he opened the door.
Get in.
I jumped out of the car and saw Charlie and the other kids smashing the school windows, spray painting the walls, and breaking down the doors. Stop!
Stay out of it, Ophelia. A weird rich man promised to pay us if we demolish everything here. Yeah, it's not something to be proud of, but we were all struggling. You wouldn't understand.
You're the ones who don't understand. Reporters are about to get here. They will film angry teenagers smashing up the school and say only delinquents study here. The school will be shut down and a new prison will be built in its place. This is the plan my dad and the mayor came up with. They've been waiting for an opportunity for a long time. I looked at my confused classmates and realized that this time I couldn't lose to my father. They think they own this city. We can't let them close our school. My words reached everyone. An hour later, reporters with cameras arrived at our school, but they didn't see what they expected. We washed the walls together, replaced the windows. The girls planted flowers by the entrance. A few kids were sitting on the lawn and reading.
Where's the mayhem? We were promised a sensation. Angry teenagers.
You were tricked. Everyone here loves school.
We've wasted our time. Sorry, Ophelia. I shouldn't have judged you by your father. You're different.
Thank you. It was important for me to hear that.
Come back to school. We need you. I need you.
At that moment, I felt hope again. No one could take it away from me. Not even my father. When I came home, he was pulling out his hair in anger.
I know you warned everyone, and you helped her. You're fired. You can't fire me. I quit. It's my choice. Ophelia, I'm going to disinherit you.
I'm not afraid of you anymore. You've lost.
I never lose.
Hi. Something bad happened. No one has seen Ophelia since that day. I know her father hid her somewhere. Or did something worse. Everyone is afraid of Nicholas Prescott and stays quiet. But I will find Ophelia no matter what. I'm not sure where I need to start though. I could really use some advice.